Hi everyone, Kevin here. Today I want to show you my top 5 favorite photography tips. Now, I normally do tech tutorials in the basement of my house. How do I know anything about photography? Well, lucky for me, I've recruited a professional photographer, Tara, and she's going to help us walk through some of these tips.
I'm so glad to be here today, and you need it.
I can use all the help I can get, so let's jump in. And this brings us to tip number 1. If you find yourself on a bright sunny day and maybe you want to take a picture of yourself or a group. Here when I take a picture, one thing you'll notice is I have all these shadows under my eyes, under my nose, and it just doesn't really look that flattering. As a quick tip, you could simply move to a place with some shadow. So right here, you'll notice that it already looks a lot better. When I take a photo of myself, you'll see that the lighting's now a lot more even and I don't have those shadows under my eyes and under my nose.
Okay, so tip number 2 is to make sure that your background is clear of distracting elements. I'm in these beautiful trees right here. It looks like a gorgeous background, but if you look closely, you see that there's a little bit of construction happening in the background, and especially things that are orange and yellow, those things stand out so much. So if I was to take a picture of myself, hey, I can see right in here all that construction. So all I'm gonna do is slightly move my body. I'm just rotating just a little bit so that I have these beautiful trees behind me now. Construction is there, so I'm just gonna get it out of the way. Hey. And there you go. All I needed to do was rotate about 45 degrees just to change my background, but it makes such a difference in your photos.
This brings us to tip number 3, and it has to do with composing your shot. When you're framing your picture, don't cut people or crop people at any weird spots. You don't want to break people's ankles, unless you're playing basketball. You don't want to cut off the knees. You don't want to cut directly at the waist. It just looks weird. Also, if you're taking a photo of someone in front of a landmark, include more than just the neck and the head. You want to include a little bit of the chest and the body. Otherwise, it just looks weird.
Tip number 4 is another composition tip, and you may have heard of this one. It's called the rule of thirds. So what that means is normally, as you can see right now, I'm centered in the middle of the frame here. It's not as interesting of a picture. So by making your composition more interesting, you can really elevate your images. So look what happens when I just step a little bit over to the side. And now I am in the left third of the frame, and it just gives your eye something to look towards, and the viewer then has something more interesting to look at in your picture. Tip number 5, and your last tip for the day, is adding layers to your images to make them more interesting. I want to take a picture of this building, and it's okay on its own, but if you back up just a little bit, you see this beautiful tree coming into the frame, and that is what's going to make you have a more interesting photo with layers in it.
And that wraps up our top 5 tips today. And I figured a good way to commemorate this day with Tara is to take a selfie with the two of us.
All right, ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
1, 2, 3. Check it out. What? Where are you looking?
I was looking at the phone.
Oh, tip number 6. When you're taking a selfie, don't look at the phone screen. Look at your camera. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm taking a picture.
Good tip, good tip.
All good.
Anyway, hopefully all of you enjoyed this today. Let us know down below in the comments, which tip did you like the most? To see more videos like this, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.